Okay, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Today, we're diving headfirst into a massive controversy swirling around Donald Trump's health. The big question we're tackling is, are we, the public, actually getting the full story? This is a big one, so make sure you're subscribed and let's get right into it. So here's the question that's on everyone's mind. Is the White House actually hiding something? Is there a secret they're not telling us? And honestly, the answer you get completely depends on who you talk to. Now, one of the loudest voices asking this question is the former CNN anchor, Don Lemon. He's basically come out and said, look, I don't believe them. He thinks Trump is sicker than they're letting on. And his big piece of evidence? History. So what exactly is he talking about? All right, let's break down this case for skepticism. We're going to look at why Don Lemon just doesn't trust the official story. The whole foundation of Lemon's argument really goes back to one single event, all the way back in 2020. Remember that? Yeah, let's do a quick rewind. So October 2020, Trump gets COVID. And then, chaos. The White House starts putting out all these weird, conflicting statements. It was all over the place. And the real kicker, we found out way later that they'd actually hidden the fact that he was on supplemental oxygen. That, right there, that's the reason for all the suspicion today. And that's exactly Lemon's point. He's basically saying, hey, they weren't straight with us then. Why would they be now? For him, there's just nothing that makes him believe they'd suddenly become super transparent this time around. It's a classic fool me once situation. Okay, so that brings us right back to today. People are asking questions about things like a diagnosis of chronic venous insufficiency, CVI. They're pointing to signs like swollen ankles, a bruised hand. But what's the official reason? Well, the White House says it's just from shaking a lot of hands and using aspirin. But you can bet critics like Lemon are not buying it. But of course, there are two sides to every story. So let's flip it and look at how the White House is clapping back. And they've got a two-pronged attack. Response number one is the classic move. Pull out the doctor's note. The official, formal medical statement. And this one came from Dr. Ronny Jackson, who used to be the White House physician. And his assessment was, let's just say, glowing. He said Trump is, quote, the healthiest president this nation has ever seen, and that he's mentally and physically sharper than ever before. So, a pretty strong statement there.
But they didn't just leave it at the doctor's note. Oh no. Response number two was, let's call it the communications takedown. This one was way more personal.
Yeah, the White House communications director, Stephen Chung, came out swinging. He called Don Lemon and this is a direct quote, a dipsit loser with Trump derangement syndrome that has rotted his pea-sized brain. So, not exactly subtle. Okay, so beyond all the name-calling, this whole back and forth brings up a much bigger question. And it's one Lemon is really pushing. Can the press, can journalists actually push back and get a real answer? And if you ask Don Lemon, his answer is a hard no. He thinks the press corps is just way too weak right now. He's looking at these briefings and getting super frustrated that they can't seem to pin anyone down for a straight answer. He literally describes it as a game of dodgeball. You know the drill. A reporter asks a tough question, the official dodges it, maybe deflects, then they just shout, moving on, and point to someone else. And just like that, poof, the moment is gone, the tough question just disappears into thin air. So what's the fix? Well, Lemon's got an idea. He thinks the journalists need to team up. He says the next person called on should just say, hey, wait a minute, why don't you answer my colleague's question first? Imagine that. A united front to demand an actual answer. So when you strip away all the drama, what is the final takeaway here? What is this fight really all about? Because it's about more than just a bruised hand or a single quote. It really boils down to two completely different ways of thinking. On one side, you've got Don Lemon's view that the public absolutely deserves full transparency about a president's health. It's our right to know. But on the other side, you have the White House view, which is that their job is to control the message and to hit back hard against anyone who criticizes them. And that just leaves us with this one giant final question that's at the core of this whole thing. A president's health, is that a public right? Something we are all entitled to know every detail about? Or is it, at the end of the day, a private matter? So what do you think? This is a huge debate, and I really want to know where you land on it. Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. Hey, if this helped you wrap your head around the whole controversy, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for hanging out.